All right. Well, why don't we go ahead and get started, and others might join us as we're moving along. My name is Dr. Marquez Lewis. I am the academic director for the psychology program at the CUNY School of Professional Studies, and I wanted to welcome you to our online Q&A. Hopefully you've had a chance to take a glance at the slide deck that was sent to you. And if not, that's okay. I'm going to walk you through some of the major pieces of the program that I'd like for you to know about, but I'm not going to spend time going through every single slide, but you'll have those so that you can take a look at them after this session is over. And you're always welcome to reach out to send us any questions that you have that maybe you came up with after this session was over. So the CUNY School of Professional Studies started in 2003. So we are one of the newer CUNY campuses. There are 25 CUNY campuses, and CUNY stands for City University of New York. For those of you who are not familiar, we are the largest urban university system in the United States. And we, SPS, are part of the CUNY Graduate School and University Center. And I mention this just because it's a little bit confusing sometimes. And when students submit their materials, they sometimes submit it and say, I really want to be part of the Graduate School and University Center. And it's only technically correct. We really are our kind of own school, but we just sit under their umbrella. We are accredited by Middle States Commission on Higher Education. I always note this, and I always try and stress to all of the people who join our Q&A sessions that no matter what school you end up going to or what kind of research you're doing, schools over the accreditation section website, so that you can make sure that they have accreditation, because it's very important. One, it tells you that it's a legitimate school, that it's gone through a proper outside review of the court of the materials and the program, so that you're sure that you're getting a quality education. It also tells you that that program and the degree from that program is going to be well respected beyond the walls of that program. So if it's not an accredited program, what you often find is if you decide to go to a PhD program, for example, they will not accept any of your credits if the program was not accredited. So you want to make sure that you're going to an accredited school. We are accredited by Middle States, as I mentioned before, which is the highest accrediting body. So in our area, so we are very proud of that. We've gone through extensive vetting process and received, flying colors, and we're very proud of that. So again, we're accredited by Middle States Commission on Higher Education, the highest accrediting body in the Northeast. So we're very proud of that. We also have our programs go through a very rigorous process of approval all the way up to the New York State Board of Education. And for this particular program, our bachelor's program, we are ranked by US News and World Report as well. We've been ranked as high as number 2. Last year, we were the number 2 school online psychology bachelor's program. This year, we're number 4. So we're very excited that we continue to be recognized nationally for the quality education that we provide to students. So we have lots of master's degree and dual degree programs and bachelor's programs, about 4,000 students that attend the school. So we're not a small school, but we're small. When we talk about CUNY, or SPS, we usually talk about us being one of the smaller schools, but 4,000 is not a small school. It's one of the same size as like a very decent size or large liberal arts school. But when you look at some of the CUNY campuses that have 30,000 students, we tend to be on the smaller side. We really think of that as a plus, because we are able to provide a lot of services to undergraduate students and even our graduate students that a lot of larger campuses can't. We have a lot of high touch points with our students. So for example, every student is assigned an advisor. We're lucky that our advisors they stay with SPS for long periods of time. So they follow students throughout their entire time at SPS, advising them on courses, course load, talk to them about what's going on in their lives, not just helping them pick out classes, and just really making the experience of moving through an undergraduate pathway, depending on whatever major it is, that makes it as smooth as possible for you as the student. We also try to honor things like outside work through our credit for prior learning process, where students can put together portfolios and possibly get credit for work that they've done prior, whether it's certifications or certain trainings, and can get credit for that as well. We have a lot of programming for students. We have a first gen student success series, lots of seminars for first gen students. We have a graduate school preparation series where we have several, there's 4 different seminars related to that, where students can meet with people who have been on graduate admissions committees, meet with the faculty at SPS to hear about what it's like to apply to graduate school, et cetera. We do lots of lunch and learns about writing or, anything related to APA style, which is something we use for writing in psychology. We also have a writing fellows group that helps students with their writing, tutor.com, which is available 24/7 to students for tutoring on various subjects. We have quantitative reasoning fellows that help with math and courses like that. And we have a very robust club system at SPS. So even though students, most of the programs are online, some of them are in person, the student clubs are very active at SPS. So you can be as involved as you want to be, or you can take a step back and only focus on coursework. That's also up to you. But we do offer lots of things to students, loaner laptop programs, accommodations when necessary, lots of different things. We're always in touch with our students, keeping them abreast of things that are going on, particularly in the psychology program. We do a lot with our students, and we provide a lot for them. We want you to succeed. So as I noted, we are ranked currently as the number 4 school online psychology program by US News and World Report, which is incredibly amazing and humbling and exciting. So we like to share that with people. We focus on degree completion. So none of our students come in fresh out of high school. They're all students who've been somewhere else and come to us as transfer students, and we help those students get to the finish line. A lot of our students are working adults, as I noted before, and they're really looking for a very strong, positive experience that maybe they didn't have somewhere else, or whatever the barriers were that prevented them from getting their degree completed beforehand. They're hoping to have a little bit of extra support, and we try to offer that at SPS. Our courses are affordable and flexible. They're taught by academics and practitioners, and we welcome part-time students. So you can read a little more on your own about our tracks. So here it just notes what psychology is, but also the 3 tracks we have. So the bachelor's program in psychology, the degree that someone gets when they finish this program is a bachelor's in psychology. They also have noted on their transcript an area of specialization. That's an extra, it's 3 classes, it's built into the curriculum that they decide to specialize in. IO psychology, which is the study of human behavior in organizations in the workplace, psychological development, and psychopathology. So IO psychology is really kind of like business meets psychology. Developmental psychology usually looks at how people, change across the lifespan, whether it's social, emotional, cognitively, and even physically. And then psychopathology is more along the lines of what you traditionally think of with psychology, like clinical and counseling psych. So anyone can apply to our program. What we tend to see with students who apply are people who are already in the field, but they need the credentials because they're trying to move up the career ladder. Or people who are really not doing anything related to psychology and they want to get into the field of psychology. And the easiest way to do that is to go back to school and get some credentials. So they come back to complete their degree for that reason. And then a third group are those students who want to pursue some kind of graduate or advanced studies, whether it's in psychology or social work or law. All of these are places where a bachelor's in psychology is really helpful. And so they come back for that reason. I'll let you read about the program curriculum on your own, but I do want to just show you a little bit of the categories. This is our core course option. These are the 9 courses that people have to take. And then they go into their concentration. So if they want the IO concentration, they'll take 2 courses on the left and 1 course on the right. I'll leave it here just for a second so you can see the courses. If someone is going into the developmental track, they will take 2 courses on the left and then 1 course on the right. And then for psychopathology, 2 courses on the left and 1 course on the right. So again, these are courses that are already built into the curriculum, so they're not extra classes. Similarly, we have lots of minors that are available outside of the psychology program. So someone could, for example, get a bachelor's degree in psychology with a concentration in industrial organizational psychology and a minor in business. That would be great. You're getting all of these different credentials that you can note to a future employer without taking extra classes. And your advisor, that's where they really come in handy, is that they can guide you on how to use some of your electives to get a minor as well. So we always encourage students to do that. One thing I like to share with people who attend our sessions is to always do your own research, particularly on what kind of opportunities are available with a bachelor's in psychology. So I know some of them. There's positions in human and social services, personnel and training, marketing and market research. Think about how much psychology is involved in marketing, research and data analysis. And that's because psychology is so research driven and so data driven that those skills then are very transferable. And also remember that psychology is the study of human behavior. And human behavior touches on almost everything. And so for that reason, a bachelor's degree in psychology is very flexible for all kinds of different jobs. So this is just a very limited snapshot based on a search I did of what's available right now. But you can just as easily go into monster.com or Indeed or any of these job search engines and look at bachelor's in psychology, or you can even get really specialized bachelor's in IO psychology, bachelor's in developmental psychology, bachelor's in psychopathology, those 3 tracks that we offer. And you'll see so many different and interesting positions in your specific area, and tag them and save them because sometimes you'll be surprised at the opportunities that are available, things that you might not have ever thought about. So how does someone apply? So in order to apply to the bachelor's program, someone needs to have, and you see that accreditation coming up again, 24 credits from an accredited college or university. Their transcript needs to indicate a GPA of 2.5. If someone doesn't have a 2.5, I would look up our Jumpstart program. It's JUMP, Jump, and then Start, START. And the Jumpstart program is another potential way that a student can gain entry into the to the school. By doing a host of different things, creating a portfolio, and there's some guidelines to it, but it's possible to enter SPS without a 2.5, but there are just some extra steps. And not everyone is guaranteed admission through the Jumpstart program. I just want to sort of say that. But assuming you have a 2.5, you have 24 credits, you can go to our webpage, click on the Apply Now button, and you can go into the application portal and start that application process. Our priority deadline, you can go check our psychology program, especially if you're not ready to apply yet. We always update the dates. Right now, for fall 2023, the priority deadline is April 3rd, and the regular deadline is June 20th. The earlier you put in your application, the better, because the sooner you hear, the more time you have to plan. You can start getting your books together, start figuring out childcare or work arrangements or whatever it is that you have to do to get your life sort of ready for that late August start date. And we do have a required 2-week orientation for undergraduates who are entering, that allows you to meet other people, meet your faculty, meet the staff, work on some career narratives, introductions, etc. So that you know what to do when you go into that online setting from day one, that you're not sort of shell-shocked. So that would be a great thing for someone to do. And in order to plan for that, again, the sooner you know, the better. So I'm going to leave this page up. This is contact information. This is if later you have additional questions that don't come up in our QA today, you can email psychology@sps.cuny.edu. And that will route your call to one, or your message to one of the 3 of us. It'll be myself as the director, again, Dr. Marquez Lewis, or Dr. Isabel Alicia will reach out. She's the associate director, or Miss Nikia Isaac, who is the academic program specialist for psychology. One of us will answer your email, depending on what the email is about, and we'll make sure that we get your questions answered. So I'll just leave that up again. In the meantime, I want to start answering the questions that you've asked. Give me just one sec. All right, someone asked, what is the online schedule? Can I choose a time and day to take classes? Great question. The classes are asynchronous. So it means they're always open 24/7. But how it works is everyone at the beginning of the semester gets a syllabus, just like you would in an everyday class. And it tells you what you're doing week 1, week 2, week 3, all the way through week 15. Our semesters are 15 weeks. And then you would be working on those same items, whatever the readings are, whatever the assignments are, whatever discussion board. We do discussion boards a lot. There's usually a discussion board every week in a class. It means that students have to post by usually Wednesday or Thursday of the week and then wrap up by Saturday or Sunday. They have to usually have so many responses to so many classmates, responding to their faculty member. The typical class starts on a Monday, is on a Monday to Sunday cycle. So it means every week starts on a Monday, week 1, Monday, and it ends on Sunday. Then week 2 starts the next day, that Monday, and goes till Sunday, then week 3, and so on, so that everybody's working on the same things and interacting with each other in real time for that week. The difference is that you might be online at 2 in the morning, but someone else might be online at 2 in the afternoon, but you're still having conversations with each other and you're still engaged with one another. And that's why it still feels like a real classroom, an in-person classroom. Your faculty members are also live 1 hour each week so that you can communicate with them in real time, face to face, via Zoom or on phone calls, or Collaborate, which is a kind of a video system within our platform we use called Blackboard. But it gives you an opportunity to click on a link and there's your professor and you can talk to them. So we try to create a community, a learning community. What we don't do, and this sometimes this doesn't work for some students, and if you really want to kind of have an experience where you're working all by yourself, you don't really have to interact with anybody, you just are kind of keeping your head down, working on your classes, submitting the work, getting some feedback and moving on. This is not the program. We really try and create a learning community so that students feel like they're in a classroom. You learn from your professor, but you also learn from other students. Let's see, someone says, I'm currently enrolled in BCC, but I would like to transfer my credits. Oh, great. What I would recommend is if you go to our website, CUNY SPS, to the advisement section, there's an area where you can request a transfer credit evaluation, an unofficial one. And we'll do that for students even before they've applied. So you can meet with an advisor and they can go over your credits and show you which credits will transfer, what you'd still have to take. And then they can also, point you in the direction of how to kind of start the whole ball rolling with getting your all of your paperwork done, et cetera. If you're a CUNY student already, which it seems you are, admissions usually has access to your transcripts already, so that process is very smooth. It would just be really the application itself and then getting the evaluation for the credits. I'd love to join in the Masters of Psychology webinar. Is there one for PhD? The Masters Psychology webinar was yesterday. But you could certainly reach out to the email address that I have at the top of the current slide, and we could easily send you the link and you can listen in on that. Okay, someone asked, do you have to complete your current semesters or can you transfer once you've received more than 24 credits? As soon as you have 24 credits, you can apply. Does our CUNY email remain this? I think meant to say the same. That's a good question. And I don't know if you port it over. If you're coming from a community college over, I don't know if you can keep your old one. I do know that you'll be issued a new one for SPS, but I don't know if your homeschool will keep that one active as well. You'd have to check with them, but you would be issued an SPS email address as part of your entry into SPS, and that would be the default for us. What you could do is go into CUNY first, the system, and reset your email address to wherever you want your emails to go. But the default would be our SPS email address, but you could switch it if you wanted, assuming that old email address is still live. Where and how specifically do I apply? So go to the our website. If you go to Bachelor's in Psychology for CUNY SPS, you'll see a photo there. That's me. And right above that is an orange button that says apply now, and you can just click there. Or you can go to our admissions page and you can go there. Either of those places are going to take you to the same portal. And so you can do everything online. One thing I would say is to start early, because one of the things that takes the longest amount of time is pulling your transcripts. And assuming you didn't go to CUNY, it takes a while. It takes a few weeks. Usually it really depends on your home school, and we need a transcript from every place that you've ever attended. So that can sometimes take a while. So I would recommend starting as soon as possible. You can start the actual application process now.
So I've actually pasted some links in the chat box
Oh,
if anyone
wonderful.
wants to use those. There's the financial aid one, I guess the Bachelor of Arts in Psychology, the main page, and then also the admissions link.
Great. Thank you so much, Darian.
No problem.
This question says the 2-week orientation, is that in person every day for 2 weeks? No. Thanks for asking this question. I should have clarified that. My apologies. So it is an online orientation, and it mimics our courses. It's also asynchronous. So you can do it at 2 o'clock in the morning when you get home from work. If you work, late nights, you can do it early in the morning before your kids wake up. And you don't have to be on every day. So usually students log in like every other day. Again, at whatever time works for you. But it's a 2-week long orientation. And what you're doing, aside from interacting with your faculty members and each other, you're also watching a lot of videos, how-to videos, so that you know, like how to submit an assignment, how to create an avatar, how to, check your grades, how to do, lots of other things in our site, just so that you know what to do when the first day of class happens and that first assignment rolls around, how to post to a discussion board, how to subscribe to a discussion board, all of those kind of how-tos. Can we apply for financial aid with this program? Yes, and please do. There are some scholarships and grants and financial aid that are available to all students. And then there are some scholarships specifically that are for certain groups of students. So for example, we have a first gen scholarship. So if you're a first generation college student, meaning you're the first person in your family to attend a higher education institution, you should apply for that. And you can do that as you apply to SPS. There are some scholarships that you have to wait until you are an SPS student. So wait until you're already enrolled and you're in your first semester, and then you can apply for them going forward. But financial aid itself, you can go to the link that Darian posted and you can see about the scholarships, but also learn more about the financial aid portion where you have to fill out the FAFSA, et cetera, for the federal Pell Grants and other funding. State funding like TAP. If you're a veteran, you're eligible for veteran funding. So there's all of that information there. Great question. Is there help with job placement once you graduate? So not really. And I say not really because it's really up to the student how much they want to take advantage of the opportunities that are there. So what we do offer are, we have a career services office. They do career fairs and link students up with opportunities as they arise. But there are some campuses that have career placement, not at CUNY, but beyond. And they will find students a job. That's not something that we do, no. Doing this online degree program and having hopes of going to grad school to become a therapist, I'm wondering if we will be working closely enough with professors that we could feel comfortable asking for letters of recommendation when we apply. Great question, Elizabeth. The answer is yes. And I always stress this to every student. There are those live office hours with your faculty member. And so you can go to those. And I always recommend on the first office hour, stop by and just say, hi, I just wanted to come by and introduce myself. I'm in your class. The professor will say hi. You might have some small talk. And another great way is through your writing, because when you're in a face-to-face class, and I taught in face-to-face classes for 20 years, and I love it. But one of the things you notice is that there's a handful of students that always raise their hand, and a handful of students who always have, give their statements and their thoughts on things. And then there's a lot of students who are really quiet. because they're intimidated or they're shy or, their own personal reasons why they just don't like talking out loud in classrooms. And in face-to-face classrooms, it's actually a little harder to get to know students because you sometimes end up getting to know the students who are very vocal or the ones who hang out after class and want to talk to you or walk with you down the hallways. But in an online environment, everyone sort of is at a level playing field. Everyone has to post in the discussion board. Everyone has to write. So the professors actually get to know more of the students and learn their writing, meet with them. That opens up doors. We have lots of opportunities through those programming opportunities that I mentioned to meet faculty and work with them. And then we're also working on a research placement program so that students can meet and work with faculty even more. So there's plenty of opportunities. Okay, as an F1 student coming from BMCC, do I need another F1 visa? What will be the tuition for me living in New York City? I would recommend going to our tuition page, but more than that, I would specifically call our admissions office or go on to the little chat bot and ask them, because I'm not familiar with the F1 visas and what happens when you go from one school to the other, if you have to get a new one, and they would be able to advise about that. Do you have short 7 or 8 semester courses like the other CUNY schools? Can you automatically transfer like some CUNYs offer, or do I need to apply? And if so, can I apply and start in the summer? Oh, great question. Okay, so it depends on what CUNY school you go to, whether or not you get automatically transferred. That's actually very limited. It exists not very many places at SPS consistently. You have to have certain articulation agreements in place between the campuses. So it's the same at SPS. It depends on whether we have an agreement with your school or not. So if you're at BMCC or you're at Gutman or you're at Hostos, then things look really positive in that way. If you're at one of the other 4 campuses that we're currently working on agreements with, 4 of the community colleges, I mean, because there are 7 in total, then you wouldn't be able to take advantage of that. But it doesn't mean that the process isn't smooth and easy, because we do try to make it as smooth as possible. So reach out to me at the psychology at sps.cuny.edu and let me know where you're from and what your circumstances are. And I'm happy to explain what the process is or whether we have an agreement with your school. Your other question about whether we have 7 or 8 semester courses, I'm assuming you mean 7 or 8 weeks. And if I'm wrong, please feel free to post in there a new question. But if that is what you mean, we do have that. We have it in the summer. We do offer some classes in a 7-week session. And then we also have a very short 3-week session in the winter. And then we also offer it at the very end of the summer. There's a 3-week session, but the only courses that are offered in the 3-week are research methods, the intro class, and then the general psych class. But for the 7-week, we do offer several different courses, but not all of them. Okay. Someone asked about submitting an essay. What do I need to write about? I would reach out to the admissions office to ask for a little more guidance about that, because to be honest, with the admissions process, that is handled by our admissions office. It's not handled in the psychology department. So you're getting admitted to SPS and then you happen to have psychology as your major. If you're a master's student, that's different. Your application comes directly to us, and then we have our admissions committee looks at it. So I would contact the admissions office, because I want you to get exactly what they want in your essay, you to get that information from them so that you can tailor it accordingly. What may I do if I get a minor in psychology? Oh, great question. So if someone minors in psychology, it really depends. A minor, people need to keep in mind that a minor is just another area of expertise, another area where you've concentrated some of your courses. And in a lot of ways, having a minor is actually heavier weighted than even having a concentration, because a concentration is 3 classes and a minor is 4. So to have a minor in psychology, it really depends on what you're doing. So if you're a business major and then you have a minor in psych, you're really using that expertise in whatever field you're going into. So it's just another way of you saying to an employer, I have this background area of expertise, but I also know a lot about this. So it really depends. But again, anything that has to do with human behavior, a psychology degree is going to be applicable. Okay, can you repeat how to get your previous credits evaluated? Sure, Amy. If you go to the advisement section of CUNY SPS's website, there's an area, an area that says transfer credit evaluation, and you click there and you can actually make appointments to do a virtual unofficial transfer credit evaluation, and they'll do them free of charge for you. And even if you haven't applied yet, just so that you can kind of see where things are, how things would transfer for you. Question is about the first gen scholarship.
I'm actually looking for that now.
So yeah, the first gen scholarship is on our scholarship page. And there's a section of scholarships, and when you click on it, it has all the scholarships that we offer. And sometimes the page is being refreshed. So if they're not up there, it's right now, it's probably because they haven't posted them yet until the application portal is going to open. But you can go there usually and see the different ones that we have, and it will explain like what the criteria is for each of the scholarships. For the first gen scholarship, there is a GPA requirement and a credit requirement, like how many credits someone's enrolled in, and that you're a first gen student. But really the criteria is pretty loose because we want to encourage a lot of people to apply. Let's see, what else? A few more. Let me scroll down. I currently have 115 transfer credits, and I'd like to know how many credits I need to complete to graduate with a bachelor's degree. So it doesn't always work with credits. So what I mean by that is it's 120 credits to graduate, but just because you have 115 credits doesn't mean that you only need 5 credits left. It matters where those credits fit. So it could be that you've taken a lot of credits that don't apply. We hope that's not the case, but and so you'll still need to take, let's say worst case scenario, a lot of your credits apply in general electives. And you may only need a certain number. Let's say you need 30 general elective credits, but you have 45, right? That's 15 credits that you'd still have to make up somewhere else because you don't have the required courses that are necessary for the bachelor's degree in psych. So that transfer credit evaluation, though, would be able to tell you exactly where you're walking into. Will you only need a few classes, or do you have several gaps? So that would be a way to do that. And I think Darian is offering, I think I see him typing the link to the transfer credit evaluation. You can get that done. Yep. Because everyone should know what they're walking into. Okay, let me just scroll down and see if I've answered everything. I think I did. Darian, are you seeing anything on your end that I'm missing?
No, I think we're good. I see a couple of thank yous. I don't see any Q&A questions that haven't been answered. It seems like you covered all.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, to all of you, thank you for joining me on your lunch break or the middle of your day, whatever you happen to be doing. It was a pleasure having you, and I hope that you've received the information that you need to make a choice about where you want to pursue your education. If we could be of any service, you have additional questions, please don't hesitate to reach out using the email address above, and we'll get back to you very soon. Usually our turnaround time is same day or at the latest 24 to 48 hours, but we're very fast. So feel free to use that email address to contact us. And we wish you a wonderful day. Thank you for joining us.